Good morning, y'all. It is morning here. It's about 11:30 in the morning. I'm actually getting ready to start cooking. I am actually already started cooking for this evening, in part because I've got to be at work at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I definitely want it to be done well before I have to leave. So I am actually making what is called green spaghetti. And some of y'all be like, what? But it's because the color is green. We use poblano peppers to make the sauce, but it's not spicy, even though poblano peppers can tend to be very spicy, but because you take out the veins and the seeds, no issues. So right now what I'm doing, now this can be done, I am toasting the poblano peppers. Let me see if I can angle this down a little bit. You can see the peppers, they're on my griddle. Some people, especially like my mother-in-law, she will do it over an open flame. You can do it on a gas stove, or you could also do it on a griddle like what I am doing, because I don't have a gas stove. I do have a gas grill, but I'm still not very super familiar with it, so when my mother-in-law comes back next year, I'm hoping to be able to learn that a bit more. And so in the meantime, I've got these chiles, they're on the griddle, and they are starting to toast. Now, I will show you in just a moment exactly what I'm doing. You can see it's starting to get a little bit colored. It's toasting, like I said. And so right now I'm getting the other side. I'm just turning it over. You want it to toast on each side, but you want it to toast good enough that, I won't say that it's burnt, but you want it, I will show you in a minute. It's hard to kind of tell exactly where you want it without showing you. So I will show you as soon as these chiles are toasted. One thing that I do want to mention though too, while I'm thinking about it, whenever you're getting poblano peppers, it's best if you can find them almost triangular shaped if they're available, because it makes life way easier when you're trying to toast them. I will put it that way. That is, I have learned that multiple times from personal experience. And this is the beginning of the process, both for this green spaghetti, and it's also called chiles rellenos, which many Americans do know what that is. That's some good eating right there too. I'm hoping to be able to make some of those in the near future, maybe within the next couple of months, because it's been a year and change since I've made them. And that's good. I mean, it may not go exactly with my dietary rules, but it's totally worth the break from the norm. So, in any case, also with this green spaghetti, typically when you're talking a general Mexican household, it is made just with the sauce and the noodles. But if you're like me, I like to add a little bit of protein, or else you're going to have to make something else with protein, because you don't want a high carb, low protein meal. That's just, it's not very nutritious. So I actually like to add a little bit of cooked chicken. I'll shred it up a little bit and just add it in there, and it just gives a little extra protein. So as you can see right over here, I've got my water boiling just about. I'm getting ready to get some chicken in there, and I figure I'll just get all that going. And so, yep, and I've got this going because it's going to take a while for all this, the chiles and everything like that. So we're going to keep going, and I'm going to pause the video though, because the rest of this process is going to be for a while. So, yes. So in the meantime, I'm going to pause it, and I'll talk to you in a little bit. Okay, now with cooking this chicken, I like to add onion, and if I have it, right now I don't think that I have any actual cloves of garlic, but I take this onion. It looks a little bit kind of funky right around here, so I'm going to cut that part off. It's unnecessary, but I just like to add it to the water because it gives a really great flavor to that broth. So I'm going to just take that, take the funky part out, and then I'm going to dump it into the water, and that'll be that. See, now you don't see any of the funky part. There we go. And there it goes into the water, and it just creates a great flavor. And that's all that I need. And now I have the rest of the onion. I can use it whenever needed. As far as, you know, I can take out that part. Just, boop, there we go. And take out that right there. And it looks good too. And then it'll be ready to chop up for who knows what else. But that's that. And so I think I'm going to get paused again. We're letting that start to boil, and as soon as it starts to boil, I'll add some salt. And just to give a little bit better flavor to that chicken, I'm about to check these chiles. So let me see, while we're already on video, let me see if I can't turn it this way a little bit, hopefully without getting a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, we're going to need to turn it, obviously. So I'm going to turn it right like this. Then, now that these sides, you see that that's starting to look really good and toasted. That's looking good and toasted. So you want to put it on the flat sides, okay? I'm going to put it right there. Let's see if you can see it. I'll point the camera down just a teeny bit in a minute. So, all right. So this one's also, because it's in the middle, it's going to be a little bit toasted-er, or whatever you want to call it. So there we go with that. So now it's on the flat side. I will show you in just a moment what I mean. Okay, it's looking good. And so I'm going to turn that. And then this one, I may not, well, I barely have enough room for all my chiles, but it's all on there. Okay, let me see if I can bring this camera over here without moving it too hard. But you can see that everything is starting to get toasted, and it all fits nicely on my comal, which is the griddle. Oh, it barely fits on my griddle. Let me put it that way. But, you know, hey. And that way, let me see if I can turn that one around. And that way it'll keep it on there. All right. And so there we go. It's all on my griddle. You see that they're large chiles because you want something that's going to have enough pop in the flavor. I may or may not use all of them when I make the sauce. I may not. It depends on what it tastes like, what it looks like. And as I've put in many, I think all of my other videos, much of this cooking is very taste-based. Because your enjoyment, your flavor, palate may be different than mine. So, absolutely, you do what is good for you, but play with it. Have fun. That is one thing that I remember. I was talking to someone in the recent past that while I was with the ex, I generally did recipes according to what I learned or according to the recipe. I did not play. I really didn't. And that's something that I have started to do ever since I got away, that I've actually had that creativity start to really blossom a little bit. And I won't say that I'm this great chef or anything like that, but hey, I'm starting to venture out a little bit, and it's really fun. And I highly, highly encourage anyone else that's starting to really get into the kitchen, do it for yourself. You know, once you start to recognize what tastes good for you, absolutely go at it and see if you can blend different things. One of the last times that I made tamales, I actually ended up that I ran out of chicken before I ran out of the masa, which is the dough. And I had salsa, I had everything for it except for the chicken. And I said, you know what? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put chorizo in there. Something I would not have thought to do ever. And I never did. I ran out of chicken several times when I was with the ex. And just kept the masa for some other time that I would cook some more chicken and stuff like that. And there's no need. I was able to make more tamales and they were just as good. Maybe even better in a way sometimes, depending on how much you like chorizo. But, oh, it was delicious. And it was something that I would not have thought of. And so, absolutely, play around. Have fun. You know, that is one thing that I will tell you, that if anyone knows someone that is in an abusive relationship, their creativity is probably going to be way low. Even if they were a creative person before. Because that's part of their personality. That is part of who they are. And that candle begins to be extinguished when you're with that abuser. And so definitely, if you know someone, including if it's yourself, seek to find help or seek to help that person. I promise you, they may tell you stories that would make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. But be there. Don't judge. because I can promise you many people that are in abusive relationships, many don't even know that they are. I certainly didn't. And so definitely I'm seeing all this now because I've been out for 2.5 years. So I will tell you little by little, maybe a little bit in each video now, just a teeny little bit. Something else that was part of my personality before the ex was huge earrings. I mean, it wasn't necessarily as big as what I'm wearing right now. But at the same time, it was bigger earrings, you know, something that would hang a little bit. And while I was with him, he would always tell me that I looked better with the earrings that were stuck up on the earlobe, or if it was a hoop, you know, barely around the earlobe. And I think that is partially probably a bit of trauma response, that ever since I left, I could show you in my bathroom, I've got one of those earring holders or whatever you want to call it, and jewelry, whatever, and it is full, and I mean full, to the point that there is no more room. In fact, I've got a pair of earrings that actually I have no room for to hang on there because it's so full, and only 3 pair are right there at the earlobe. None of them are completely onto the earlobe, and 2 of the 3 pair that are on my earring holder was gifted to me. And the other pair, I didn't realize how small they were going to be, or else I may not have bought them. But it's been part of my, this is who I am. I'm reclaiming me. And definitely it will be great for anyone. If you know someone that's been in an abusive relationship, it'll be a beautiful thing to watch them reclaim themselves, especially if they're able to stay away. I've been blessed with a wonderful support system. Many don't have that. And so if you know someone that's been in an abusive relationship and it's not you, please help them. Be part of their support system, because many go back because they don't have support and they don't know how to make it on their own. So, okay, I'm going to shut up for a minute, and I'm going to keep letting these chiles keep on toasting. I'm going to keep letting the chicken keep on cooking. And we'll be back in a few minutes and keep going with this process. Well, here we are back with this, and I'm thinking that these chiles are pretty much ready to get off the griddle. You can see that they are well toasted on each side, okay? But that's not the end of the process. It's not going straight from here to the blender. It's going to go from here into a Walmart bag. I promise, don't freak out. It's not going to melt the bag. Believe me, I've done this plenty of times. The first time that I did it, I thought it was going to melt, but you can see, very nicely toasted. Beautiful, beautiful. And we're going to let these things, they're just going to sweat for a few minutes, actually. So, and I'm going to put one of these chiles a little bit closer to the flames, I guess is what we call it in Spanish. That one's got too little of a, whatever you want to call it. That thing is way too little. This is actually pretty good. I mean, it's not perfect, but hey, I'm going to take it. And the heat of the other chiles in the bag will actually help to cook it too. So I'm going to leave these 2 on the burner for just a couple more minutes, and then they're going to be ready to go in the bag. And then we're going to take them and leave them in this bag, and I just noticed that there's a hole in there. So I'm going to take it and put them in another bag. You can get these Walmart, grocery store, Harris Teeter, Costco, Kroger's, wherever else that you might go grocery shopping. You can grab a grocery shopping bag and put those chiles right in there after they're done toasting, because you want them to sweat, and then it'll be a lot easier to peel. So we'll be back when it's ready to peel them. Okay, one thing that I did just forget to mention is that you want to have this bag as sealed off as possible, okay? You want those chiles to kind of steam each other. And all my chiles are right here in these bags. We're good to go for a little while. I'm going to let them steam each other for a good hour, hour and a half. Let them cool a teeny bit. Usually, I mean, it depends on how much time you have. Right now, I'm starting to feel a little bit of a time crunch because of the fact that I need to be out the door around 3:30, and right now it's noon. So I'm feeling a little bit of the time crunch, which is why I'm only going to leave it for an hour, hour and a half. But I have, in the past, I've left it pretty much all day, because I did this in the morning, and I didn't have to have dinner till 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. So, because with the Mexican household, you don't necessarily, I don't know if it's typical with Americans. I know that many people that I know, they're eating around 5:30, 6 o'clock. But anytime that I lived with anybody that was Mexican, we could eat anywhere from 5 o'clock till 11 o'clock at night. I mean, it just depended on when dinner was ready. It depended on what was being cooked, who was eating, when they were getting home. So, in any case, but yeah, that's ready to go. It does definitely need to stay in there at a bare minimum an hour, okay? You do want to give it time to steam each other and let that, the skin will start to peel itself with that process as it starts to cool. So, and that will make your job way easier in the long run. All right, so we're just going to let that go, and I'll be back. And I know that it's going to be just a couple of seconds for y'all, but I'll be back in about an hour, hour and a half. So, see you in a little bit. All right, here I am back, which granted, unfortunately, anyone that knows me knows that this is not a surprise, because I'm constantly running late for everything. But here it is. It's been almost 2 hours. It's 1:50 in the afternoon. I took these chiles off of the comal, off of the griddle around noon. So it's been not quite 2 hours. They're definitely much, they're just warm instead of hot. So hopefully that will have given them some time to get sweat and all that kind of stuff. You can see maybe, I don't know if you can tell really well, but the color is actually changed. It's more of an olive color here in my kitchen than it was. It was much more of a pine green whenever it was first come off the comal. So that's a good thing. So what you're going to do, just going to start taking the skin wherever you see, especially wherever it's bubbled a little bit or where it's been burnt. Just kind of start ripping that off, almost like a scab. All right. Just going to do that all over the chile, and that's what you're going to do with all of the chiles, so that you can, once you get that done, I don't want to go too fast, because anyone that doesn't know about this, I don't want to go too fast and then you'd be like, a little overwhelmed or whatever. I don't want to do that to anyone, especially, even most especially for anyone that doesn't know much about the kitchen. I want you to feel confident after seeing my videos that you can do this. I want you to feel like, yes, I'm definitely going to try this because I really think that this is going to work. And if it doesn't work the first time, hey, all of us, anybody that has started anything, whether it be cooking, whether it be painting, well, then again, there's some people that they pick up a paintbrush and they're just great. But there's most of us normal people, we don't do that. Most of us normal people, we have to have a learning curve. And so I kind of did, especially in the Mexican kitchen, I most definitely did. So give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace to have that learning curve. It's not a big deal. So I'm just taking the skin off. And I'll show you. It's not going to have all of the skin off by the time that I've done peeling it. Because there is still going to be some that won't have sweat enough. It doesn't matter. Even the times that I've had these in the bags all day long, it still didn't matter. It still had, some of that skin will still be attached and you just can't get to it, okay? So don't even feel bad. Don't feel like you didn't do good enough, that there's something wrong. Absolutely normal. So, okay, this is probably about as good as I'm going to be able to get this one. And I don't know that I'm going to keep on the video for multiple reasons, but you can just see it. You can tell that it's been peeled, like right here. You can see some of that skin, that it's still shiny, but you can't get it off. So what? But you just take off what you can, and whatever you can't, leave it alone. Okay? So, and I will be back in a couple minutes once I get all of these chiles peeled, and then we'll get ready for the rest. Okay, so here goes the next steps. We are going to take these chiles, we're going to kind of take off the top of it, okay, because that way you can get out the veins and the seeds a lot easier. Alright, you can probably include the tops if you want it, but you will want to take out any of the seeds and obviously all of the veins. This particular spaghetti, if you want the heat, you can have it, but it's not particularly meant to have the heat. It's only meant to have the flavor of the poblano pepper. All of a sudden, I got a bit of it in my mouth. So just from the chile itself, they are probably hot peppers. So definitely, if you don't want the heat, you will want to take out. If you can see, I'm ripping out those veins, okay? You're going to tear it out just like that, okay? Make sure that you get rid of any and all seeds, because with the seeds being right there next to the veins, they will also be spicy in general. It's very rare that the seeds won't be, okay? And typically it's the more mature chiles that are going to be spicier, and so definitely beware, okay? You can, if you so decide, you can always take it and test the spicy level on your own. That's up to you, but that way, especially since right now I'm making this spaghetti to take over to my parents' house, and my mom does not do spice, and so I'm trying to make sure that it is good for her. And so that's why I'm being a little extra careful with these veins. Typically, I probably wouldn't be, but today definitely. So, alright. So there we go with that. Now it's ready. I can just take it and dump it straight into my blender. There we go. Alright. I'm going to take it. I'm going to probably do just a couple more. And then I'll add in the sour cream and whatnot, which if you've seen my video about the roasted red bell pepper, then it's pretty much the same thing. This is just with the poblano pepper, and instead of hot dogs with the other one, I'm doing it with shredded chicken. And you don't necessarily have to have it with shredded chicken, especially if you wanted to have it with something else, if this is going to be a side dish. But at the same time, it's up to you how you want to do it. I'm doing it with chicken in there because of the fact that I want the chicken in there. I want it to be a meal rather than just a side dish. So, there we go with that. Alright, getting rid of some of the veins. Making sure that they are not there so that my mom doesn't have a miniature coronary. So, and that one is actually pretty clean, if you can see that right there. That's pretty. So that's ready to go in there. Alright, well, I shall see y'all in a minute when it's ready to get blending. Alright, so here we are pretty much ready to make the sauce. It ended up that I decided to do 4 chiles, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be the end and that's the only thing that I'm going to blend up. Alright, so in the meantime, I'm going to take a full 24-ounce container of this Daisy, it is Daisy brand. You can use any brand. I prefer Daisy because that's what I've used ever since forever and ages ago. But you could probably use any store brand. If you're using a store brand type of sour cream, you're more likely to have any kind of extra, what is the word? Something to make it thinner. Any thinning agent such as milk. I used to use milk. I now use half and half. But it's unnecessary to use that in general. If you're using a store brand sour cream, it usually will be a little bit runnier anyways. So here we go. Just going to put just a little tad bit of it in there. So now we have the sour cream in there. in order to not take too much of the flavor, but add just a teeny little bit of creaminess. I'm going to add a good sized handful of mozzarella cheese. I know. I'm a little bit whatever. I'm over the top with that sometimes. So then I'm going to use, this is actually, I probably need to get some more bouillon done. This is homemade bouillon. You can use a bouillon cube. You can use some of that Better Than bouillon. But I will tell you from personal experience, you need bouillon. Some type. Whatever kind that you're going to make or whatever kind that you're going to buy, you need bouillon in there. Okay? And then typically, you're also going to need just a teeny bit extra salt just for the flavor. It will typically always need a little bit more salt. I just put that in there. So, I do believe it should be ready to go. Gonna get that onto the blender, onto the base or whatever you want to call it, and then I will get that closed. Okay, here we are. Gonna blend her up. Okay, really quick, I'm going to just tell y'all what I've done. I ended up using 5 of the 6 chiles, okay? I'm sorry, this is probably going to move a little bit the way that I don't want it. But there you've got the sauce for the stuff. And actually right now, I just took my beaters and I've just shredded my chicken. That's ready to go pretty much up into the dish. I'll be getting that put together. And right now, I just put on... I'm actually using the broth from the chicken. I'm using that to do the noodles in. I added a teeny bit more water to make sure that I have enough. But I figured that will probably be plenty good enough, and it will add a beautiful taste to the noodles. So we're just getting that heated up, getting it ready to be able to put the pasta in there. And in the meantime, we can start getting everything put into the dish, ready to go, and we can get the oven turned on and get it ready to go to get everything in the oven. Because right now it's 2:30, I have an hour till I need to leave, and it's going to be a good half hour in the oven. So I'm putting the oven, like I said, on 350, and we're going to let it preheat in the meantime while we're getting this water warmed up and while we're getting everything in the 9x13. Alrighty, well, it looks like this water is just about to boil if it's not boiling already. So, and you may be able to hear it, especially with my Bluetooth. So in the meantime, I'm going to start getting this pasta into this water, get it going, and then we'll get everything ready while it's cooking, okay? It's unnecessary to stop everything and do one thing at a time. That will take you forever. If you are brand new to cooking and you are comfortable with it, absolutely, take your time. Who cares? If people have to wait a little bit, you know what? Either they don't deserve to eat your food, or, you know, or it's one of those, people will wait when they really, really appreciate the effort. So, I'm not going to worry about it. So, then I got that. Should have probably opened this up before I put the other one in the water, but how will you anyhow, right? Only so much as you can do about something. Alright, gonna get this pasta. I just like to break it in half just because it makes it where it's a lot easier to fit into the pot. And I know that they have those, what is it called, the pot-sized pasta or whatever anymore. But because of the fact that I use a different brand of pasta, which is supposed to be better for diabetics, then I do need to get it and have it, break it up myself. So that's okay, not a biggie. And we got this pasta into the water. It should take in between 8 to 10 minutes to cook. But one thing, especially with this pasta, I don't know about many others because it's been so many years since I've used a different kind of pasta, that other than the glucki noodles, the cognac noodles, otherwise with any kind of wheat pasta. It's been many years since I've actually used any kind of that. So with this, especially during the first 2 to 4 minutes, you want to stir it somewhat a little bit more regularly to make sure that it will not stick together. Because if you have 2 pieces of pasta sticking together, they typically don't cook as well. And then it will be almost like raw pasta when everything else is good to go. And that's not cool. Okay, so here we go. I like the pot-sized pasta if I can have it like that, both because it's easier to deal with in the pot, and also since I still have young children, then I don't have to deal with them trying to figure out how to put it around their fork too much. So it's a lot easier when it's shorter for them. So that's good like that. We got the pasta going, so now we can get ready, get everything else inside of the 9x13 pan, which I will show you very quickly. For anyone that is brand new to the kitchen, a 9x13 will be a rectangular cooking dish, typically either glass or many of them they have are, I believe it's like aluminum foil. Those are, well, then again, the aluminum foil are disposable. There are also ones that they have the non-stick coating on them, but you're going to want, especially with this much pasta, you're going to want a 9x13 pan. It's, you know, like I say, 9x13, 9 inches by 13 inches, and it will say it whenever you're getting ready to buy it at the store. So, just like that. This one's blue. Doesn't matter what color. I've used all kinds. So, you can make delicious food regardless of what you have. Use what you have and enjoy it. Okay? So, I'm going to get everything ready to go in here, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here we are back. We're going to make sure that this chicken is good and shredded, which it looks really good. So, I'm going to just kind of pour it around at the bottom. It's just kind of pretty well to coat the bottom because you want it to be able to mix well and nicely with the pasta. Okay, once you get it in there, then you'll want to mix it up obviously with the sauce and just keep it all together. That's the oven saying I'm warm now. So alright, so there's that. I don't want to put too much chicken, both because I want to have some room for the pasta and because I want to make sure that I don't have too much chicken and then there's not enough sauce. And that's just straight up sad. I don't know if you like pasta with a lot of sauce, but I love lots and lots of sauce. So I'm going to just go ahead and dump this in here. Alright. You can start, if you could call it a marinade with the chicken. I don't even know if you could call it that, but it's there. And that way, in the meantime, you got the pasta. It's cooking on the stove. So I'm just going to dump that in there. And then once it's ready, I can start to mix it up. I'll take some of those, I don't remember what it's called in English, but I will show it to you in just a minute. I'll take it and use it to mix. I'm not going to use one of those pasta fork spoons things. I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use something else to make it where it's easier. Alright, I'm going to make sure that this pasta, it should be cooking nicely. It looks like it probably is. It may need another minute or two, but that's quite okay. So it's getting there, and it'll be ready to get into that dish momentarily. Okay, so here we are. We got everything pretty much ready to go. I've got this pasta. I have a colander that's like this, but you can use obviously any colander. You just have to drain that pasta. Some of y'all have those nice pots that you have. You could say you could put the colander in there and you just take it out and it's, you know, drain it right like that. I don't have anything like that, so I'm going to use what I have. And here we go, pretty much. I want as little of that liquid in there with that pasta as is possible, okay? Because obviously that's gonna water down your spaghetti, okay? So there we go with that. And then I'm gonna use, I would call these pinzas. I don't remember what the word is in English. And so I apologize if you are gonna look for them at the store. I don't know what to call them. So I'm just gonna take it and just kind of stir it just like this. Okay? There's no need to be, just be careful with how roughly that you do it, because of course it could end up starting to pour out the sides. I've done that a time or two, or 50. So, but yeah, just kind of stir it up just by just turning it over, you know, no biggie. Okay, and then you can somewhat incorporate some of that chicken in there as well. All right, and then I'll get this going over here. I'll move it around a little bit. I'm moving a little bit of my sauce over towards a part of, and I know that it shouldn't be something people be like, why are you moving the sauce? I mean, it should be good because the fact that it's a liquid, and liquids just kind of take the shape of the container that they're in, but somehow with any kind of spaghetti that I've made, sometimes the sauce just kind of stays on the edges, and so it can, if you put a little bit too much spaghetti or whatever on that edge, it can tend to dump out the side. So yeah, so anyways, this right here, I would call that the drum roll, but anyways, it's ready to go in the oven. So like I said, it's going to be at 350. I'm going to leave it in there for 15 minutes. And then I will show you in 15 minutes that it starts to look a little bit not burnt, but it'll start to look definitely drier on the top. So you just kind of move it around again, just like what I just did. Put in there another 15 minutes, and then it should be good to go. All right, we'll see you in another 15. Okay, as you can see maybe from there, I'm going to pull it a teeny little bit this way so you can see. And I think I'm going to just come over here and zoom in a teeny bit. You can see that it looks a bit dry, okay? It's ready to just get stirred up real quick and then go straight back in the oven. No sense in taking any time with it because I got to get going, and I know that I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this video. You probably don't want to spend a whole lot of time watching it. And so just turn it around, get it where it looks like it's all moist on the top. Okay. Alright, and there we go with that. And now it's mixed back up and it's ready to go straight back in the oven for another 15 minutes. Alright, and we shall see y'all in another 15 minutes. Okie dokie pokies, well, it is done. You can see it is now on top of my stove. I'm getting ready to get wrapped up because I'm taking this to my parents' house today. I'm about to get me a little bit to take to work, and it's ready to go. It's got the chicken in there. I'm also doing it with, I'm doing green beans today, but usually I would do this with like some fresh veggies, like a salad or something like that, but I didn't have time for that today. So in any case, so we're just going to do that and we're done. And I hope that today's video has been enjoyable. I hope that it's been helpful, and we shall see you next time. If you like my videos, make sure to like it, and please subscribe to my channel if you so desire, and I'll see you next time. Have a delicious day.